Hello, I'm still Michael Beck, and I wanted to do a standalone video, just something a bit irreverent and fun, well, at least fun for me, and yeah, talking about some albums on CD that I bought in 2025 of last year. And I guess 2 years ago now, I made a video talking about some albums in my vinyl collection that were, kind of, to me, I felt were kind of special. Either they're a bit more rare, or I think, felt a little bit more harder to come by. And I had fun with that. And some other people seem to enjoy that as well. So, yeah, I had plans to do a video soon after that talking about some of the albums on CD in my collection, and that just didn't happen. But yeah, now we're now we're getting around to to something else as the timing and my interest and motivation allows. So yeah, I'm just gonna um that's what I have planned here. I guess I will say that I wish I had done maybe a bit better of a job like recording and cataloging like what was actually from 2025, because I think there was a little bit of bleed there between like late 2024 and like early 2025, but it'll be fine. Like for the most part, I would say this is what I got from 2025, and if there's a little bit of hit and miss, that's fine. I apparently don't know, and so you won't know, or shouldn't matter either. But yeah, without all that, I am going to just kind of as quickly as I can go through all the albums, and then with the time that I have remaining, I'm going to try to keep this within at least half an hour, 30 minutes, not make it too long. Even that's a little bit long for some, but that's what it's going to be. Uh, but yeah, and I just went ahead and I ordered these in order of their respective release dates. And yeah, I will say that I have been in a bit of a nostalgic mood for a bit, kind of revisiting some stuff that maybe I heard on the radio, but even just wanting to revisit things. Not really even revisit, but just kind of like look into music from the 90s and early 2000s that I, either was not alive for, or was, technically alive, but either didn't have the access, not having the internet and such to be able to, well, I mean, have the internet, but not, having YouTube and all these ways of discovering, listening to music. Or maybe I was too young to really maybe be able to fully comprehend uh, what was happening, what was around, and of course, there's something we said for whatever you're exposed to, and you do what you can. You're born into the family you do, and they expose you to certain music and not others, and so you get this old, and you get to explore for yourself, and so that's what I've been doing, and that's been super cool and fun for me. A lot of interesting, yeah, just yeah, really great music, I think. From sometimes that even I was alive and just wasn't aware, and so I think that's cool and fun. Or even maybe you find some albums that were like released on the date of your birth, or multiple albums that happen to fall the same year. All that fun, good stuff. Let's dive into it. So first off, we have, and this, I don't see a date on this, so I'm just going to say this was from the 80s. This is the best of Missing Persons. We have from 1990, we have Madonna's Immaculate Collection. Then we have the Innocence Mission, 1991. This is Umbrella. We have James Lade from 1993. And then also from 1993, although not dated, but I looked it up. This is Red House Painters. And I want to say this is one. They have a subsequent album called Two. Maybe this was self-titled. I don't remember. Uh, this does not have an album title on it. It just says Red House Painters. But yeah, that's that one. Then we have Garbage from 1995. And then we have from this is 1997. We have none other than the best of Enya, Paint the Sky with Stars. And from 1998, we have New Radicals, Maybe You've Been Brainwashed Too. And then getting into 1999, we have Blinker the Star, August Everywhere. And we have Third Eye Blind's Blue, also from 1999, I do believe. Again from 1999, we have Len, You Can't Stop the Bum Rush. Then from 2000, we have the Ultimate Collection, Aimee Mann. And from 2001, we have The Shins, O Inverted World. We have The Best of Bowie from 2002. And we've got another Third Eye Blind, A Collection. It looks like this was issued in 2006. And then we've got Snow Patrol, Eyes Open, another from 2006. Yep, 2006. Then fast forwarding, we got two more albums left. We have Broncho, just enough hip to be woman from 2014. And last but not least, we have Dutch Uncle's Big Balloon from 2007. All right, so that's all of them. That's quite a collection. But on the the cheaper side, I bought them throughout the year, not all at once. Let's see, the cheaper or cheapest example. Let's see here. This was only 295. Was the Snow Patrol album, and there's one. Yep. For 275, this was the new Radicals album. So I think that was about the lowest price that I had here. But it's not price, but this Dutch Uncles, while it was from Second Charles, the secondhand store, this was wrapped and it was new. So occasionally I found that at Second Charles. Every now and again they will have something that is new, and sometimes it goes for the higher price, and sometimes it is heavily discounted because I guess it seemed like it was either very common or just maybe not desirable. And so, a win for me. Um, because yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about this again. It was new, wrapped, never opened, and this was probably one of those where it was like maybe like two $2 and like 72 cents, and I was like, man, that's a steal, and I got it. I was really intrigued, I think, by the cover art, and I maybe had heard one of the songs before, but I kind of wanted to uh, dig more into it, and yeah, just really just dig this whole album. It's really like driving, really like hooky, catchy guitar riffs, some kind of fun sort of time signatures that, at least on a couple series of listens, kind of it's harder to remember, kind of keeps you guessing. And so, yeah, this is one that definitely can get me kind of like hyped. So yeah, really, I'm glad that I got this one. Um, like what next? Let's talk a bit about Enya. I I mean, who I guess who for my generation, I would imagine is somewhat aware of Enya. She was just kind of all over the place, I feel like, and had a song on Lord of the Rings, and I think really kind of got uh, pigeonholed within fantasy, and again with like Lord of the Rings, kind of like in sort of that kind of fantasy, um, which I think is kind of unfortunate because I think that generally this is like very ethereal, like dreamlike music that, while fitting for a fantasy, I think doesn't have to solely fit within maybe that style of fantasy, and I think is open to an interpretation. But yeah, I got really um, stuff that I heard. I was really overplayed for me. Like, I wasn't a fan, but a good friend of mine shared with me the song Orinoco Flow, and I was like, man, I really like this. So I wanted to give Enya another shot, listen to some of the older stuff. So this was a good one, and yeah, I've really kind of delved more into um, the work of Enya and really appreciate um, yeah, its contributions. And while I feel like I can maybe hear some influence in some later stuff, I haven't really heard anything that sounds quite like it. Um, so I think, yeah, sounds pretty unique. Sounds like Enya, and yeah, certainly if anyone has heard anything that sounds similar, I would be very curious. Um, but yeah, this new Radicals was like so affordable, and gosh, yeah, I think I heard um, "You Get What You Give" and "Mother, We Just Can't Get Enough." But this is one that I just love, pretty much from start to finish. I think it's a great album. I think really has some interesting sort of social commentary. Um, and yeah, just a fan. I think for whatever reason, uh, think got this confused in my mind with some of the Cure stuff. Friday, I'm in Love. I don't know necessarily why. If that makes sense to anyone else, but yeah, I guess I sometimes I do think that like visuals and like cover can make be a big selling point, and I think I was always struck by this image, and so I'm glad that that was the case. And I was drawn to this, and yeah, I really think this is a really fantastic album. Um, this I think was like really, like I said, Dutch Uncles was new from the secondhand store. I think this is the only one that I actually bought new. Just went ahead and got off of Amazon, and this has become one of my favorite bands. seems to be credited with being a pioneer, one of the main um, groups to kind of do the like slowcore genre, and yeah, it's like really slow, um, drawn out, um, yeah, just like alternative rock music. Seems like really sentimental and contemplative, and I just love it. And yeah, I think that I maybe it's not fair to compare this to the National, but I've been a huge fan of the National, and I have listened to the National less, and have subsequently been listening to this band more, along with the lead singer-songwriter's solo project Sun Kill Moon. I definitely want to get more of Red House Painters and Sun Kill Moon in my collection as I'm able. What else? Yeah, definitely. I've got to talk about this Innocence Mission Umbrella album. I was in Richmond. Had traveled to visit there, and I think I had particularly I knew they had two Second and Charles locations, and I wanted to just check them out and see what they had in their stocks. And I came across this album, and I was just floored because this is not a well known group, I would say, which is a shame because I feel like Innocence Mission is an American treasure, a hidden gem. Um, I think they really just make a different kind of music that's just, I guess, the closest that I compare it for some of their early. Well, I guess this album in particular has a very the Sundays quality to it. If you're familiar with that band, um, I did not get this in 2005, but I also have their first album, self-titled, um, from the Innocence Mission. This was their second album, and I think that this is very much has an 80s sound. I think this maybe has some, but uh, has less of I guess a dated kind of quality where it's like, oh, that sounds like the 80s. Maybe you could say this sounds like the 90s, but yeah, I was like I said again, I was just not expecting them to have any of their albums. I didn't already have it, and so of course I had to get it, and so I did, and I just really am just a huge fan of this album as a part of their larger discography, and I am grateful that they have a continually like growing discography, that they're so prolific, that they have been uh, doing music since, like, I mean, yeah, the first album came out in 1989, and they're still putting out music now. It's pretty amazing. I mean, they're gotta be, yeah, getting up there in age, and so yeah, if you do check out the Innocence Mission, you've got a lot to to listen to, which hopefully isn't too intimidating, but is an opportunity that, hey, if you like what they're doing, uh, you're not going to run out of things to listen to, which is always cool and fun. I think with any group, it can be harder when you only have like one or two albums and you really love them. Um, so yeah, I think this was kind of the um, sort of the last of this kind of particular sound. Um, I think the once they moved into their third album, Glow, which I recently just got, is a bit more, I guess I would say, less kind of like jangly rock like the Sundays, and a bit more I guess I would just say has more, I guess more leaning into sort of like folk territory. I would say for the most part, but yeah, I don't want to. I want to babble too much more with being at a loss for words. But yeah, just wanted to mention that I really cherish like one of the things about getting something physically versus getting something online that I find is you have these moments like this where you go into a store and you're surprised and you get something that maybe you already knew and weren't expecting or you know had a mind of like wanting or something like this where it's like a band that you love but you're not really familiar with the album and then you get familiar with it and love it and also get to have that surprising memory uh you know to go along with it. You have kind of a physical piece um to remember and put it all together. So yeah, there's that. um I guess I will talk about Madonna's Immaculate Collection. Yeah, I just really, I think the song Vogue was in a video that was like a bit of a meme, and I really like the song, what can I say? And just wanted to hear more from Madonna, and just was like surprised to find how many of her songs like I recognized and didn't realize that she had done Holiday, of course, Like a Virgin, Material Girl. Um, so yeah, that was definitely fun to get this and to hear a few new songs that I didn't know, but also to hear some ones that I had heard but hadn't heard for a while and didn't uh, you know put together was like a Madonna song, and I think there's at least another collection here like that. Yeah, David Bowie. He obviously passed away several years ago, and so I got interested in his music um, and was liking what I was hearing. But then, you know, time went on, I kind of forgot, and then was reminded and wanted to get more into his stuff. And so I came around to getting this collection, and I think I really knew Space Odyssey or Space Oddity, sorry. And I think that's really all that I like for sure knew of. And then yeah, I was surprised that a number of his songs that I had heard but never like realized. Oh, like he did that. So pretty cool, pretty fun, I think. Um, what else here? We're getting close to time. I kind of want to get around to wrapping things up. I guess I will say that is some honorable mentions. That I do think that if you know you meet somebody who's like seems to have a particular interest or a favorite band, it can make me interested. And like if they don't oversell it, you know that's important. Don't oversell it. Just you know put it out there that oh like this is you know like one of my favorite bands. Will be like oh, okay, that's cool. I'm interested why that is, want to check it out for myself. So I knew someone who was a big, or at the time seemed to be like really into Aimee Mann's work, and so I wasn't a big fan of like what I was hearing or what he put my way. But I didn't realize that Aimee Mann, before going into like solo singer songwriter, was in an '80s band called Till Tuesdays, and I was pretty interested, like digging kind of some of the that stuff, particularly Voices Carry. And so it's cool that that song is on here, but then also was introduced to some of her other works that I do appreciate. I think I maybe overplayed it a little bit, um, but yeah, I really appreciate her songwriting and her introspection, and yeah, so I gave that a go, and then knew someone who was like a seemed to be a big Shins fan. So I got you know the Shins Oh Inverted World, and yeah, dig this album. I think maybe the one that most people will be most aware of is probably maybe New Slang. That may is like what I heard. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so this is like mainly like what I've listened to from them at this point. But really an interesting sort of a soft rock, I would say, in terms of production. Like the drums sound like they like dampened them. Really interesting. Or almost like sounds like the snare drum is like uh is like a tom. I don't know, or like they just kind of took off the snares. um, but yeah, I really intrigued. So yeah, I dig the unique qualities that I guess sort of complements the sort of unique um, songwriting and and uh, intriguing and thought provoking song titles. Caring is creepy. Know your onion. Like what's going on there? Pretty fun and interesting. Um, let's see here. Um, yeah, I mean, can I get both of them? Yep. I was interested in revisiting Third Eye Blind. They happen to have Blue and this collection, and there was some stuff that was some stuff from Blue on the collection, but obviously stuff on the collection that wasn't on Blue. And so I was like, "Am I really gonna get both of these things?" And I did, and I don't regret it. I think yeah, most people will know "Semi Charmed Life," but I was hearing on the radio, um, back in the day, was hearing "Never Let You Go," and that was on the album Blue, and so wanted to give that more of a listen and yeah, really enjoy what's going on this album. But also, yeah, I was able to hear "Losing a Whole Year," which I was not familiar with, and then able to revisit such classics like Jumper and Graduate. Um, so yeah, cool to revisit and then again discover some new Third Eye Blind stuff. I think I need to be wrapping up here. I guess I'll just do a few other little um, I don't know interesting anecdotes. Is that for whatever reason, I revisited Coldplay at one point, and I confused in my mind Snow Patrol and Coldplay, um, and so I wanted to, um, as I was revisiting some of Coldplay's earlier stuff, and then reminded of Snow Patrol, I was like, oh, that's not actually Coldplay. I was like, all right, let's revisit Snow Patrol, and particularly this album. And so yeah, that's what I did. I was able to manage to find one that was at a price that seemed reasonable to me, but also was in decent condition. Every once in a while, I'm like, "What are y'all doing?" Like they'll have something that's like in the case is in pretty rough shape, and it'll be like asking for like 5, 7 so dollars, and I'm just like, no, not in that condition. Nice try though. But yeah, this was 295, and for that, yeah, I thought this was a steal. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think there's potentially more that I could say about the other albums. Um, but I think for the sake of time, not making things too long-winded, um, I think it'll be good to wrap up things. Yeah, I guess I didn't really post. I think maybe I would have done a better job remembering if I had just posted all the things like on my Instagram that I had bought. But admittedly, I was a bit self-conscious because I didn't have an income and the budget was tight. There's a lot of financial anxiety, and I was pretty honest about all that. And there was kind of this fear of people kind of get the perception of like, oh, well, maybe he must not be doing that bad, or like, even if he is doing bad, like, what is he doing, spending his money on stuff that he doesn't need. But, it could be another video to discuss, general ideas around, finances and, how you spend money or don't, and, treating yourself. But I guess for me, I allowed myself to, I really try to be careful with my money and to try to spend wisely within my means. And that's hard when you don't have an income and you're only losing money. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important to, you know, with whatever you have, to just be able to, to do things for yourself, to keep yourself going, and I don't know, to feel like even when there's things that feel like out of your control, and lots of despair, is having some things to, I don't know, give yourself some moments of joy, some happiness. And so, yeah, anyways, that's ultimately, that's not making any recommendations necessarily for anyone else, but that's what I did for myself. And I don't regret it. I'm glad that I got these, even if there are some that I could see reselling. That's part of the that's part of the process, is you get something and maybe you enjoy it for a time, and then you maybe resell it later as need be. But not everything needs to be forever. I also mentioned that a lot of these, well, basically all of them, were bought used, so that made them more cost effective. I could buy multiple albums for the price, of one, of a new CD, or even, yeah, what the price of that new vinyl records can go for. That's so much of the reason that I have ended up going back to CDs, is because there's so much more affordable. And so, yeah, not only were they bought used, but most of them, I would say, I guess all of them are not new, unless I can recall as I'm going through them. I would say they're all from Second and Charles, and that's not me promoting them. That's just a matter of fact, and just, I personally have discovered them and have appreciated what they offer for, uh, like what I'm looking for. They're kind of, somewhere else. Not, they're not quite a thrift store. They're a secondhand store, and I just like that they have like a selection where I can go to, and check out just the CDs, and they're um, kind of displayed nicely. I can like look through them fairly easily. And anyways, overall, I've appreciated going there and finding what they have. And um, and yeah, what else can I say? Is that yeah, so some of the, I don't have like a local second in Charles, but I have one that's in a city nearby. But then there's also in some cities, several cities away. And there was some instances where I uh, wanted to, kind of get away and travel, farther as I was able, and times where I maybe had appointments. And so I checked out the local Second and Charles while I was there. So yeah, thanks uh, always for taking the time to consider these things with me. Check out these CDs with me. Until next time, please stay well and take care. All right, bye.